Take a moment and picture this. It's 1986. The screen flashes to life with the thunder of fighter jets ripping through the air. A young, impossibly hip Val Kilmer walks into frame as Iceman, locking gazes with Tom Cruise in Top Gun. That smirk, that swagger, it's the making of a legend right here. He's not a pilot. He's a force of nature, a guy who makes you believe in the magic of movies. Now take us forward almost 4 decades to April 1st, 2025. The news comes like a lightning bolt. Val Kilmer, the man who gave us Batman, Jim Morrison, Doc Holliday, and so much more, is dead at 65. Hollywood falls silent. Fans like me get a twinge we can't shake. Who was Val Kilmer, really? Was he the rebel with a poet's heart? The actor who could slide into any skin? The survivor who faced down darkness and kept on keeping on? This isn't just a hasty tribute video. It's an hour-long deep cut into the wild, messy, brilliant life of a man who defined an era. From his first laugh to his last breath, we're unwrapping the layers, the highs, the lows, the roles that made us love him, and the man behind them. So grab a coffee, get settled in, and let's take this ride together. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss a second of this ride. Val Edward Kilmer was born on December 31st, 1959, in Los Angeles, California, born on New Year's Eve, as if the universe had known he'd be a spark that couldn't be contained. His father, Eugene, was a real estate developer with a head full of big ideas, and his mother, Gladys, was the steady hand holding the family together. Val was the middle child, sandwiched between his older brother Mark and younger brother Wesley, growing up in the sprawling, sun-drenched San Fernando Valley. It was a place where Hollywood's glow was always just over the horizon, but Val's road to stardom wasn't some easy hand-me-down. He worked for it, step by stubborn step. His youth wasn't all smiles either. When Val was 9, his parents broke up, messy, emotional, that kind of thing that leaves a scar. Then at 15, there was the harder tragedy. His brother Wesley drowned in a swimming pool while having an epileptic seizure. Val was 17 by then, and that loss left something gouged deep inside him, a quiet intensity you can glimpse in his eyes later on screen. He directed it into acting, first at Chatsworth High School, rubbing shoulders with would-be stars Kevin Spacey and Mare Winningham. Mare was his high school girlfriend, and they'd remained friends for decades. The theater was his refuge, his testing ground. He wasn't merely good, he was captivating, even then. At 17, Val made a move that altered everything. He also auditioned at Juilliard's drama department in New York, the acting holy grail where legends are created. He earned in youngest student ever enrolled. Imagine this, a Los Angeles kid, barely old enough to vote, migrating across the nation to reside in a small dorm room, subsisting, training alongside the crème de la crème. He learned Shakespeare, Chekhov, heavy-hitting plays, laying groundwork that'd last him a lifetime. He co-wrote a play, How It All Began, and produced it off-Broadway, first hints at the agitated creative force that had come to characterize him. Hollywood moved fast. In 1984, age 24, he was cast in Top Secret, a goofy spy spoof by the makers of Airplane. Val plays Nick Rivers, rock star secret agent, crooning his own tunes and hamming it up with a pompadour and wink. It's absurd, hilarious, and he's the beating heart of it, a sleeper hit that showed he could do comedy with the best. Then came 1985's Real Genius, where he's Chris Knight, a slacker genius at a tech college, dodging lasers and cracking wise. It's peak 80s, big hair, synth beats, nerdy charm. And Val's effortless cool makes it a cult classic. But 1986, that's when the world really met him. Top Gun. He's Iceman, the competition pilot with ice in his veins and fire in his gaze. That line, "You can be my wingman anytime." It's Val, said with a smirk that wrote the book on charisma. Behind the scenes, he remained in character, barely speaking to crews to create the tension. Method acting, baby. By his mid-20s, Val wasn't rising. He was a comet scorching the sky, unstoppable. The 1990s were Val Kilmer's heyday, a decade when he didn't merely shine, he dominated the screen like a king staking his throne. Let's begin a little earlier, though, with 1988's Willow. He's Mad Mardigan, a ragtag swordsman in a George Lucas and Ron Howard fantasy epic. With mullet and a devil-may-care smile, he's pulling off scenes willy-nilly. It's here he's introduced to Joanne Whalley, his co-star and soon-to-be bride. More about that romance later. Willow proves Val's versatility early. Action, charm, a touch of rogue. But the 90s? That's where he becomes god level. 1991. The Doors. Val gets to be Jim Morrison, the Lizard King, and it's not acting, it's a possession. He learned 50 songs, watched hours of grainy footage, wore Morrison's actual leather pants. Director Oliver Stone reported that Val got so deep, the crew believed he was bringing Morrison's ghost to life. He'd remain in character offset, mumbling poetry, freaking people out. Val even recorded tracks that were so spot on, Doors members couldn't tell them from the originals. It's raw, electric, and cemented him as more than a pretty face. He was a serious artist. Then 1993's Tombstone. He's Doc Holliday, a dying gunslinger with a southern drawl and a death wish. That line, "I'm your Huckleberry," he improvised it on the spot, mid-scene. He lost pounds, mastered the accent, and made a supporting role the heart of the film. Kurt Russell was the headliner, but Val stole the show. Fans refer to it still as his masterpiece. Go see that cup-twirling scene. It's chills each time. 1995 was a double feature. Batman Forever first. Michael Keaton quit. Val took over the cape. It's a neon-soaked, campy disaster. Those nipple-pierced suit nipples. Ick. But Val adds a brooding, hurt edge. He butted heads tough with director Joel Schumacher, who branded him childish and impossible. Val said he merely sought depth, not gimmicks. They spoke little by the end, but Val's Batman remains. Same year, Heat. He plays Chris Shiherlis, bank robber in Michael Mann's crime epic. That LA shootout with De Niro and Pacino. Val's in the middle of it, icy cool, keeping pace with Titans. It's a lesson in subtle intensity. 1997's The Saint. He's Simon Templar, a thief of a dozen guises. He changes accents, charms Elizabeth Shue, and oozes suavity. It's Val exercising every trick. Action, romance, mystery. Don't miss the lesser gems either. Thunderheart in 1992. He's an FBI agent of Sioux heritage, probing identity and justice. The Ghost in the Darkness in 96. He's tracking man-eating lions alongside Michael Douglas, all bravado and grit. Even at First Sight in 99, he's a blind guy falling in love with Mira Sorvino, displaying his sensitive side. The 90s were Val's canvas, action, drama, comedy, heart. He didn't merely act. He lived, leaving behind a legacy of indelible moments. Even the brightest stars strike shadows, and for Val Kilmer, the 2000s were a long, rocky slide. That difficult tag stuck like glue. The Batman Forever feud with Schumacher started it off. Joel called him psychotic, said he'd never work with him again. John Frankenheimer from 1996's The Island of Dr. Moreau added to the pile-on, saying Val was a nightmare on set. Val shot back that he just cared too much, wanted the work to count. Truth or spin, it hurt him. The big roles disappeared. 2000's Red Planet, a sci-fi bust with a bloated budget. 2002's The Salton Sea. He's a junkie out for revenge, and it's dark, brilliant, but nobody noticed. 2005's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. He's a gay PI with Robert Downey Jr., and it's a hoot. Critics raved, box office shrugged. He appeared in MacGruber in 2010, hamming it up as a villain, but it's niche comedy, not a comeback. The A-list glow was fading fast. Then, 2015, throat cancer. A savage blow. Val lied about it for years. Typical Val, guarding his inner life, but by 2017, the facts were irrefutable. Chemotherapy, 2 tracheotomies, it decimated his voice, that suave, authoritative instrument that led Morrison to wail and Doc to drawl. It was destroyed, replaced with a hoarse whisper through a voice box. Envision losing the very thing that made you an actor. Shattering doesn't do it justice. He kept it private, but paparazzi snapped him with scarves covering up the scars, tubes sticking out. Fans panicked. Val remained quiet. But this is where the tale goes sideways. Val didn't shatter. His 2021 documentary Val, narrated by his son Jack, is an eye into that battle. It's unedited, him gaunt, feeding via a tube, creating artwork in a messy studio. He speaks of losing Wesley, his divorce from Joanne, his passion for acting, his idiosyncrasies, such as being a Mark Twain obsessive. He's funny, obstinate, human, not a fallen star, but a fighter. Then, 2022, Top Gun, Maverick. He's Iceman once more, older, iller, but majestic. He campaigned hard to be in it, even penned the scene with Cruise, a taciturn, emotional acknowledgement between 2 veterans. His voice is dubbed, but his eyes tell all. Fans lost it. Tears in the theater, tweets on X calling it a miracle. Critics hailed it as a flawless bookend. Val had been to hell. Cancer, obscurity, silenced voice, and emerged swinging. It wasn't a cameo. It was a roar of defiance, confirmation he'd never be counted out. April 1st, 2025. The news falls. Val Kilmer's passed. He was 65. It wasn't the cancer. His daughter Mercedes made it clear he'd defeated that beast years ago, defying every prediction. No, it was pneumonia. Quiet, sudden, merciless. It took him in Los Angeles, his hometown, among his children, Mercedes and Jack, from his marriage to Joanne Wally. They met on Willow in '88, wedded that year, had Mercedes in '91 and Jack in '95, then broke up in '96 after a tempestuous go. Divorce didn't break the tie, though. They co-parented, kept it close for the kids. Val's death wasn't some Hollywood grand finale, no blaze of glory like his characters. It was intimate, understated, human. Perhaps that's poetic for a man who lived so big on screen but protected his soul off it. His last years were not spent pursuing fame. They were spent on art, family, legacy. He painted vibrant, frenetic canvases that poured out his feelings. He wrote poetry, writing lines in notebooks like the dreamer he had always been. He staged Twain Mania, a benefit of his Mark Twain mania. Val even acted him out in a one-man play, Citizen Twain, in 2012. Health, however, was a shadow. Tracheotomy marks, breathing tubes, a physique thinned by cancer's aftermath. His spirit, though, unbowed. Mercedes said he was at peace, surrounded by love, his children grasping his hands. Jack referred to him as a lion to the end, fierce and gentle. That's Val Kilmer. Not the star we mythologized, but the man, father, artist, fighter, who met the final curtain with the same grit he brought to every role. So what's Val Kilmer's legacy? It's a galaxy of moments, a tapestry of characters that linger. Iceman's ice-cold cool in Top Gun, that smirk still rings out. Doc Holliday's deadly charm in Tombstone, I'm Your Huckleberry, is etched on fans' hearts. Jim Morrison's primal howl in The Doors. Val didn't act him, he was him. Batman's shadowed soul in Batman Forever. Campy or not, he made it happen. He was a chameleon, sliding into roles so deep you forgot the man behind the mask. Off-screen, he was an enigma. Brilliant, prickly, soulful. He'd stay in character for days, drive directors crazy, then slip away to write poetry or paint. He adored Mark Twain, called him a kindred spirit, and poured that into his work. His cancer battle, 5 years of raw human courage, a fight he won until pneumonia stole the victory lap. After his death, X went viral, fans uploading Tombstone videos, Iceman forever jokes, crying farewells. Val taught me cool doesn't need words. He was my hero, warts and all. His children continue his fire. Mercedes performs, Jack writes him into Val. Hollywood had lost a giant, but his imprint, everywhere. Each time you see Maverick and watch that last salute or hear Doc's drawl, Val's there, smiling, challenging you to keep up. He's not gone. He's immortal, part of the fabric of movies, inspiring every kid who ever dreamed big because Val did. His legacy isn't just parts. It's a life lived loud, messy, and real. Val Kilmer once joked, "I'm an actor. I can be anybody." And man, did he ever prove it. He soared with Maverick, sang with Morrison, fought with Earp, wrestled with Bruce Wayne's demons. To me, he's the fellow who made every line feel alive, every look land like a punch. So here's to you, Val. Wherever you're flying now, I hope you're smirking like Iceman, tipping your hat like Doc, painting the stars with that wild, gorgeous soul. Thanks for the ride, Huckleberry. It was one hell of a flight. Share your favorite Val moment in the comments. I'm reading every single one. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for upcoming videos.